everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We had a little bit of static, a little bit of imperfect recording for this episode, but hopefully I think the content is still there and it's not too distracting, but yeah, hopefully you can still enjoy the episode. When we have people from all over the country all talking together, it can be a little bit challenging. So I hope you still enjoy it. And we had a lot of fun talking about Ride. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And we are talking about Ride. We don't have a name for this podcast. It's just the Ride podcast, I guess. And we are talking about episodes 2 and 3 of season 1. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Terry's here.
Hi.
And author Jennie Martz is here.
Hi, everybody.
Yay. And I was saying off air that I just read one of Jennie's books. So this is very exciting. I just read How to Cowboy. It was really good. I enjoyed it very much.
Yay.
How many cowboy books do you think you've written?
Oh, gosh. Well, there's 10 in the Credence world. The ninth one just came out in the Credence world.
Nice.
4 of the hockey playing cowboys, and then there's 6 total of the Credence Horse Rescue. And the newest one just came out here in March. Every Bit a Cowboy, and then the newest, the end of the line is a Cowboy Country Christmas. But I've also written the Hearts of Montana 3-book series. I wrote the Cowboy Ever After one for Hallmark.
When you write a Christmas one, do you go into it knowing that it's going to be a Christmas book, or do they kind of decide and then add the Christmas flair?
Well, that's a great question, because the first book I wrote, I knew it was a Christmas book, but I failed to talk to my publisher about it. And apparently, if you have a Christmas book come out, it has to come out in October. And my book was coming out in December, so I thought, oh, fine, I'll do a Christmas book. But apparently, yeah. So Wish Upon a Cowboy is a Christmassy book, has Christmas in it, and it's won a ton of awards. But the new book that's coming out comes out in October, and it is all Christmas from the moment it starts.
That's going to be good. I'm excited for that. That'll be really good. All right. So we had 2 more episodes of Ride. Would you say that these 2 episodes got you more invested in the show than you were from the premiere, or still kind of meh on it? What would you say, Terry?
I was actually a little bit more invested. They were better than the premiere. They felt a little bit more grounded, and not grounded, but like everybody felt more established. So I enjoyed them, pretty decently. They were decent episodes.
What about you, Jennie? What do you think?
Yeah, I for sure enjoyed them a lot more. I'm a lot more invested in the characters. I'm invested in the stories. I'm invested in the mysteries. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm looking forward to the next one.
I don't know if I can say the same, to be honest. I am still not sold on this show. Hopefully I'll keep watching and I'll get invested. I still think it was a big mistake to have those 2 near kisses in the pilot, because then you have they should have built up to that. That should have been in like episode 10, that finally they get either close to kissing or actually kiss. When you have that in for Cash and Missy, when you have that in the first episode, it's just too much. And I don't know. I just think that everything that the fact they had that and it wasn't made that big a deal of it, it wasn't like a semi scandal or like a big moment for the couple, I think was a mistake. And I don't know. What do you think, Terry?
I agree with you on that, especially because with the flashback that we have in episode 2, I'm more confused than ever, because it seemed like they were just friends and he liked her. And they just didn't tell each other that they liked each other. So I have no idea how far back that relationship is, or, if there was ever one.
Yeah. As a writer, what do you think about that? How they wrote that, how they're writing this dynamic between Cash and Missy? What do you think, Jennie?
Well, it doesn't bother me as much as it bothers you. It's obviously it's obviously affecting your watching of the show.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother me that much. I think the writers are just trying to show that there's something interesting there. They're giving us a love triangle with Gus and with Cash and
Yeah.
Miss and Austin's memory. So I guess it's a love quadruple. I don't know what.
Right.
Totally.
Well, I don't know. I just think they could have built momentum and tension and everything better. But let's see what we have for episode 2. It's after Cash's ride, the McMurrays are back in business. Tuff and Valeria are forced to work on their friendship as they work to save the ranch. So this episode, it starts out with this flashback 5 years ago, where they're asking, what do you see, where do you see yourself in 5 years? It was a little unclear at the beginning whether that was a flashback, and then it turns out, then you see Austin is there, so you're like, oh, okay, this is a flashback.
Yeah, that was kind of odd. I wasn't sure what was going on there because they didn't delineate it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why. I felt like it was like they were having a good time and tricking the audience.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure why they did that. Though it was nice to see Marcus Frosner pop up again.
Yeah, just barely.
Barely.
Yeah, and we see this box, this jewelry box, and we think, oh, okay, was Cash planning on proposing to Missy?
That's what I thought too at first, but I think it was just a box.
I think it was just a box.
Yeah,
we saw what it was later. Remember? We see what it is later.
No, Austin had the ring. He had the box. The box was just decorated with the what was it, the Spanish horses or whatever?
Yeah.
And the box was decorated.
I think Cash was just going to give her, like, I don't think there was a ring for Cash.
No, I think it was just a box.
They showed later what it was. Can we talk? I mean,
yeah. Oh, recap, so we're good.
Remember, he got it out of the glove box, and it had a necklace with the horse on it.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, I completely missed that part.
Yeah,
I swear I didn't see it. Okay.
Cash
I was like, why is he giving her just a box? All right.
He knew that she loved those horses, and then he took the necklace, the horse necklace, to his brother to give to her, so that the brother could say, look how well I know you, when really it was that well.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting how they're painting Austin. I mean, we know that there's the secret that Valeria had that Austin knew about, but they haven't really told us. I feel like most of Austin is kind of in the shadows, like you're saying, with mystery.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem authentic either.
No. So it's going to be interesting to see where things end up going with Austin. Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/Hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/Hallmarkies. Because usually you don't have a character that's died that's usually characters in Hallmark shows that have died are kind of almost reverential, in types. Like if you think about, it's not a Hallmark show, but if you think of Heartland, certainly Amy's mom is very, looked up to throughout the course of the show. Yeah. And there's no sense of mystery around her behavior.
Yeah.
I am wondering what kind of relationship Austin and Val had, though.
Yeah.
You know,
There's definitely a secret there.
Oh, I just said they're sure dragging that mystery out with Val. They're
Mhm.
not really giving us many clues.
No.
I guarantee you episode 10 is when we'll find out.
Yeah. So we have this show, this kind of podcast like show by it's Rodeos and Juliet. That's where they get the name.
Oh, I love that name so much. I wish I could name a book that. That was so cool.
Maybe we should call our podcast that. Recap. Desiree Lockhart, and she wants to have Missy on the show, on her show. But Missy signed this deal with Frontier, and so they want to kind of double check everything she says and approve everything. And then there's this trick that they want her to do. They want her to that's I forgot to write down the name of the trick.
Suicide Drag.
Yes. And she's just not feeling up to it. And
Suicide Drag, that's what it's called. The Suicide Drag.
Yeah.
And I would think that they could easily have her do an easier trick, and for that kind of, like video that they're doing for ads and promos and stuff, like they could have, it would still look pretty good. It would still look good.
Well, I was so proud of her for really pushing her way onto that show, for
totally
going out there, really getting herself on the show. And even though she used Austin's name to get on the show, like then when she got on the show, she really promoted herself, and I was proud of her for that. But can we just talk about the Suicide Drag is so, like, they do that whole same trick on Heartland.
Yeah.
I keep wondering if it's the same stunt woman who's doing it, because it looks so similar.
That would be interesting to know. I mean, particularly Georgie. Georgie on Heartland is a trick writer. So that's when you see most of, I mean, every once in a while they'll have Amy doing something, but it's mostly Georgie who does the trick writing.
And she wanted to do that same Suicide Drag trick. So I wonder if that must be a famous trick in trick writing.
Yeah, it must be. So we have the introduction of Gus Booker for Booker Oil here. He wants to be an investor.
The evil oil baron.
Yes.
The son of the evil oil baron, that is.
Is Tyler Jacob Moore is the actor's name. And I'm really excited because I'm actually going to interview him tomorrow. First ride interview. We've interviewed Marcus a bunch of times, but not for this show. So I'm super excited to get to talk to him. I think he is extremely attractive.
Ooh, he is so cute.
He is. Like, I sort of don't like men with like very light hair. I don't know why. Very few, but he's a looker for sure. Yeah. I'm fanning myself. Like that Blanche gift from the Golden Girls where she sprays herself with the water bottle. That's me.
Yes. I'm glad you all agree.
Yeah, I think he's so cute, and I love blonde. And I think he's so nice so far. Like he doesn't really seem to have a bad bone yet. He's just a cutie seems like a really good guy so far.
Yeah. I was expecting, this is going to be a bad man of business coming in to buy the ranch, kind of a thing. But so far, not really.
Not really so far. But I think he's got better chemistry with Missy. I think he's got better chemistry with Missy. And I'm like, I think I might want these two together, because I think that, oh my God, I blanked on his name. Chase has better chemistry with Val. It's really weird. I'm weird in that department, but.
Interesting. They haven't been in that many scenes together.
No, they didn't, but I thought.
The next one.
Yeah. But I just thought they bounced off each other pretty well. But.
I thought the family was pretty stinkers to Gus, who, he brought him a pie, and they just sort of.
They were so mean to him.
Read him the riot act at the dinner.
I don't understand that. Their farm, they're about to get kicked out. They're going to be homeless, and they're so mean to this guy.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
what I thought.
he's their plan B. He's their, they're hoping. Isabel does say that a couple of times, but
Yeah.
yeah, they're definitely they treat him like a bad man of business, but I'm
I
not seeing it
know.
yet. So we'll see.
And
Maybe it'll
he's
be a big reveal like in
maybe,
coming up,
maybe.
where it's like, oh, I don't know. But he kind of reminds me of Peter on Heartland. Because he was an old
Oh.
guy,
Oh. Yeah,
Oh
that's
boy.
yeah,
and
Yeah,
Pete.
it's like, Mom, I don't care that we're going bankrupt. I need a bull. Let me be mean to this guy.
Yeah,
Cover us a
Pete's a
hole.
good guy too. I really
yeah.
like that. I like that connection there, Rachel.
Yeah. Because
David.
Peter starts out as an oil guy that's they're gonna maybe buy the ranch or whatever, and then Lou becomes interested in Peter, and they've had all their back and forth. I certainly hope it doesn't become that. uh
Harry,
and
you got to
Gus.
start watching Heartland.
Yeah,
I know it's a show that I would love, but I look at all those seasons and I'm
I
like,
know.
do I have the time? The older I get, I'm like, do I have the time left for this?
It is with 16 seasons, it is kind of overwhelming. But it's Gabriel Hogan, who's been in some Hallmark movies, who plays
Yeah.
Peter. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good
Anyway.
actor. I like him.
So then we have Missy training Cash, which I think is probably like a terrible idea. Isabel has to know about this, right? About their history.
Probably.
Why would she suggest this then? This seems like a terrible idea.
It's just a reason to get them together.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like for Isabel, it would be the last person that should be training Cash.
I don't know, like what experience does she have except she was married to a bull rider,
And we have this sheep farmer that tells Valeria and Tough to get off his land. And what was the issue he had? Why does he hate
Val was a better I forgot what she did now.
Or maybe a barrel. I think maybe was a
That was a
barrel.
barrel racer. She was a better barrel racer than his daughter. I was like, really? That's what you're mad about?
Yeah. She won over his daughter several times.
Okay. Well, finally they win him over, and then we have Tough. He's kind of caught in the middle of all of this. What do you think, Jenny, of Tough as a character?
I like him. I think the romance with him is sweet. I think that it's kind of, I just want him to tell her flat out, I saw you with that guy. So it kind of annoys me when people are just like trying to catch people in a lie. And it feels like he's just purposely trying to catch her up in a lie. So I like Tough. I think he's cute and sweet and fun, and I really like him as a character. I just want him to flat out say, dude, why are you lying? I saw you with the guy. So I think that's going to come in this next episode. He's going to confront her, but
I hope so. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that he's told he's supposed to keep his brother safe. He's kind of this in-between kind of character. And then he sees Valeria and Austin talking that night. He knows there's something going on, but he hasn't confronted her yet. And she's been gone a year. So I guess that's part of it. But even more reason why you think he would be saying something here.
Yeah.
But Isabel makes Tough and Valeria the co-foreman of the ranch.
This is very strange to me. For the sole reason that this girl ghosted them for a year. Why do you trust her so much?
Yeah, it did seem kind of surprising. And when they're in such financial straits, to kind of take on 2 full-time employees is probably not the best choice.
Yeah.
Well, and it seems like Valeria is the one that keeps coming up with a whole bunch of ideas. She's trying the hardest. And I think that Isabella was just rewarding her trying so hard. And I don't know. She doesn't say that she's going to pay them. She might just be paying them in groceries and room and board, you know?
That's true. That's true. I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. 3 friends, 2 broken promises, 1 missing manuscript. Book lovers and contemporary romance readers, don't miss this new book from Nicole Deese. In The Words We Lost, editor Ingrid Erickson is given a sealed envelope from her late best friend by the man who shattered her belief in happily ever afters, and sent on a hunt for a hidden manuscript that may finally lead to the healing she's been searching for. Buy The Words We Lost for 40% off and free shipping at bakerbookhouse.com using code DEESE40. That's bakerbookhouse.com, code DEESE40, DEESE 40. So Cash gets his bull that he's going to ride, and then that's when we get this flashback at the end with him giving Austin the ring box. And then you have Missy doing the interview, even though Frontier doesn't want her to. But they're okay with it because the traffic to the website grew. And and that tracks. That makes sense. Mary is going to sell her horse. Tough stops her from doing that. And we also have Cash calling in on the show and asking her where she sees herself in 5 years. So,
yeah, that was really
sweet.
cute. Yeah, that was cute.
Yeah,
that was sweet because she's trying so hard to make it on her own merit, which she has.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, they only want to talk about her husband.
Mm-hmm. And then we have Tough is encouraged to play his music by Julian. They have a little cute conversation. So we're going to hear more, I guess, of Tough singing through the course of the show, which is a good thing.
Hey, yeah, he's a great singer.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's my favorite character.
Yes. And then we kind of end with Gus flirting a little bit with Missy, and Cash is getting kind of jealous. And then we also we have this scene with Valeria meeting with this guy, Tucker Clark, who's kind of like a rocker, edgy type guy. And Tough sees her with this Tucker Clark guy. So
interesting that you see him as a rocker. Like, is that just because he has long hair? I thought he was just kind of like a dirtbag kind of guy. Like,
oh really? I saw it as like a ZZ Top kind of rocker guy.
I saw him as like,
like a country rocker guy.
I'm thinking like a rapscallion, if I could borrow a word from my grandmother. Like,
what did you see him as Terry?
I just thought he was a no good, like a dude. I pictured him on a bike. I don't know why, but like a.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I mean, we know he's trouble. I just didn't. Yeah. I didn't picture him playing a guitar in a band. I thought he was more like trouble.
That's funny. So yeah, this episode I think was fine. It was fun. What would you give it 1 to 10? What do you think, Terry?
I give it 3.5.
Oh, pretty low.
Oh my God, the 1 to 10. I thought the 1 to 5.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow, that's pretty low.
Sorry.
So, will you give it like a 7?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Jenny, what would you give it?
Oh, yeah, I'd give it an 8. I thought it was fun. It was getting better. So one thing we didn't talk about, which is one of my things that I want to see, because I always love like the older people actually getting a romance too. I think there's going to be a romance between Isabella and the mayor and Hank.
Oh yeah,
there's a romance blooming. They kind of did that little flirty scene, and she was like, "Are you going to have my back?" And he's like, "I've had your back since 2nd grade," or whatever it is. So I think he's been holding the torch for her, and I think we're going to have a little,
that would be fun. I'd like that.
That'd be
It's-
cute.
Yeah. I can see that. I didn't write it down, but I can see that. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies merch store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies merch store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anna Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies. Okay, next episode is called The McMurray Curse, and the McMurrays gear up to host an important community gala. Isabel must spiff up the barn and her son Cash to impress judges. Missy is anxious about returning to trick riding. So overall, Terry, what do you think about this episode?
Well, I thought it was fine. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't get over no tablecloths on that table. It looked fancy, and they had no tablecloths on the tables. But outside of that, I thought it was fine.
Well, in fairness, they didn't have very much time
No, they
to
didn't.
put this all together, like one day, I think. So maybe they just didn't have any
The one thing to
tablecloths.
nitpick about, the one thing to nitpick about, and I will.
That's funny because my one thing I noticed was that they had a chandelier hanging from the barn, and I was like, how did they have a chandelier?
Oh my.
Yeah.
And I wish they would have I wish they would have given that a little more time. Like there was a ton of stuff in that barn to make it, have it all decorated and the ferns and the chandelier and all the lighting. And I thought it looked great. I loved the idea behind it, but I felt like they should have given themselves we only have 2 days to do this. I didn't understand why they had to do it all in one day.
Especially because half of them were out doing something else.
Mm-hmm. I think the only guess I have, didn't they say, or maybe I'm remembering wrong, that they had Missy and Austin's wedding there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's probably where the chandelier's from. But then they would
Oh,
have
that was my
tablecloths.
favorite. That was my favorite. Couldn't find the actress's name, but Jeannie, the mean girl, who's my favorite now. She's just so catty. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so catty.
That's what I wrote down. Janine is a little stinker. That's one of my notes.
I love her.
Yeah. What did I write down about her? I'm seeing here. But she was a pretty fun, mean girl.
Yeah.
And let's see here. Who's that actress? I'm looking on the thing. If it's she's not on the IMDb.
No.
Well, if you're listening, whoever you are, you did a good job. So Tuff is upset with Valeria about the meeting with Tucker. So that's where it starts out. And that's why I think you're right, Jenny. I think in the next episode, we're going to really see that fruition. Yeah. But Cash isn't worried about it for some reason. And then this is where we really actually get the suicide drag from Frontier, them saying after the success of the interview. And they're doing this photo shoot, and she gets really upset. So that's kind of an ongoing plot going on.
That was a valid reason, though.
Yeah.
That she was upset about it.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Simone Biles at the Olympics, where she said she couldn't do it because her head space wasn't in that space, and if you could die if you aren't ready, if you get that. I forget what they called it. It wasn't brain fog. It was there was some term for it. And that if you get it, you just can't do your, you can't do those kind of high risk things. And that kind of reminded me when they were talking about this.
Yeah.
It's a scary trick too. I mean, she's really got her head hanging down upside down near the ground and near the horse's galloping feet. So it
Mhm.
is a dangerous trick.
Do you think that the shoes made her more anxious or calming? It seemed like they made her more anxious.
Oh, I thought the idea behind the shoes, I thought it tried to calm her down more.
I think that was the idea, but it seemed like it didn't work. It just
I still wanted her to come through. Like I wanted the shoes and everything like it didn't work and they're all pressuring her and saying we're here. I wanted her to just kind of pull up her bootstraps right there and be like, or have somebody come over and, give her that, cash, give her that nod and say you can
Yeah.
do it. Have her try one more time and do it, because now what happens that they all left
I
and
was
wait.
expecting that. I thought it was going to go that way.
Well, she does
Yeah.
a trick right at the end, but I guess it's not the like suicide drive.
Nobody's there.
Yeah.
No, she
Yeah.
does the trick, but nobody's there to see it.
Okay, that's right. That's right.
She did the real trick, but not on camera.
Right, right. Okay. But she buries the shoes.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I can see that like they would think it would be calming, but in reality, it would be bringing all that up,
Yeah.
all those memories and everything. And then we have Barbara Sutton in this episode. She's evidently like an old friend, but also kind of a rival of Isabel. And she's kind of asking about cash at the beginning, and she says she's nervous about catching Isabel's bad luck, and that's sort of a theme. That's why it's called the McMurray curse. The episode is this idea that the McMurrays have bad luck. So what did you think, Jenny, about Barbara?
So it didn't seem so much at first. It seemed like they were kind of rivals, but then when we realized that it was more that she was afraid of catching Isabella's, all of her sad things, and then she admits that she just couldn't handle being around her when she was so sad and in grief. And in some ways, I mean, that's a very valid, real thing that I think a lot of people, they lose a spouse, they lose a child, they have such hard grief that their friends do pull away. So I thought that was really, I mean, touching on a really hard subject. I liked that they came together again in the end. I thought Isabella was pretty great that was a pretty quick forgiveness. But I'm a sucker for friends getting back together. I just love that.
Yeah, she says your pain scared me. I didn't know how to be around you.
Yeah. And I thought that was a very real comment and a real thing that people feel.
It can be hard because it's hard to know kind of what people need in their grieving, because some people they want to talk about it. Some people absolutely don't want to talk about it. Some people, it's just such an individual experience that it can be hard to know how to support people that you love that are going through grief. And I guess the best thing is to just ask them, like, what can I do? What do you need? But yeah, it was I think that they're the kind of friendships that are always going to be a little bit rivals, but
yeah,
at least they were able to kind of bridge some barriers in this episode.
Yeah, I liked that.
Yeah, what do you think, Terry?
The same thought. I thought it was like they really went there. Like it was no easy. It was like I couldn't handle your grief. It was all consuming, and I had to check out. And that happens sometimes. You have people who don't know how to handle that, don't know how to help. So I mean, she forgave her mighty quickly, but the one thing that got me was how rude those people were at this lady's house, to be making fun of the fact that they have a curse that the men die in this family. That was unbelievable. I was like, you at this lady's house and you're gonna make fun of all the men dying and that this guy's like the next one up? I mean, whew. But
yeah,
we needed that drama.
It really was. But all the cowboys saying that McMurrays are cursed, and
oh wow, though I couldn't believe that in that lady's house too. Like I would have told him to get out.
I thought Cash did a great job, though. It seemed like I liked his little monologue right there, and I liked his little speech, and Yeah, I
'cause
thought he did a great job with that. That got me a little teary-eyed.
he says if you're looking for a word to describe the McMurrays, I'd go with lucky.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
And it did look beautiful. They did a great job.
Yes,
with
I
that.
do have to say one thing that I feel like if they really are going bankrupt, they should maybe cut some of their staff because it seemed like they walked into that barn to get help and there's like 15 cowboys in there that all come in to help. And I thought to myself, if you're struggling, you should get rid of some of these ranch hands.
They really
I mean,
do
that
seem
ranch
to-
is huge. Those aerial shots, though, I mean,
they do seem to have a large staff.
that is a lot of land.
And Terry, those aerial shots, once you watch Heartland, you'll be like, oh, this looks so much like Heartland.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
pretty
true.
sure I've seen those aerial shots in other shows too, because everything looked familiar.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful scenery, though.
Yeah.
I know, it's beautiful country.
I want to go to that ranch.
Yeah. So then we have this whole thing with Tough and Valeria. He says, I don't think you earned this. There's these, this whole sheep thing. And and then she ends up like working on get the pond water for the sheep. You also see at the end Valeria and Cash dancing. So there's a lot going there. And then Tough finds Valeria's fake IDs. So that was a big clue.
And are they fake IDs? Or are they really are they real driver's license from all these different states?
I guess
You
Well,
could get a driver's license from another state. You just say you lost yours.
that's true.
No, I think they had different names on them.
Oh, did they?
did.
I think so, yeah.
I didn't see that, but it did.
I don't know.
She has a lot of IDs. Let's say that for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
So
Something's
something's up.
Yeah.
And so then we also have Austin says that Missy is his good luck charm. So again with this luck theme. And then Missy says that if he'd been in a better headspace, he wouldn't have had the accident. But then he saw her and Cash together. So that's part of the reason why he was upset. But then he was also having those conversations with Valeria. So that night is getting real messy.
Yeah.
That's true. Which Missy doesn't know about. So she's taking a lot of that blame on herself.
Mm-hmm. And then Missy and Cash dance. And this is sometimes bad things happen and it's no one's fault.
Aw.
Yeah.
That was sweet.
And rodeo is about family. Which I think is true with it, though, about anything that you get into kind of whatever you're doing, you never want to burn bridges because whatever it is your career is, like you want, I don't know, just you end up working with people again. Even I've seen like, even though I'm just sort of tangentially part of the sort of Hallmark family, like it does sort of in a way feel like a little bit of a family with the various actors they use again and again. And, I know just whatever career you're in, I feel like that kind of happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So we have Missy, she doesn't do the trick. She buries the shoes. And then she ends up doing the trick at the end, like you said. You also have the scene with Gus and Missy watching the stars. Which
That
I
was
thought
so cute.
that was cute.
It was cute.
It was.
Even though Janine had already said, like, oh, someday we'll have what our house is going to be like, or
Oh man.
like not only are they on their first date, she's already got them like married and family planning.
Mm-hmm.
When Tough called her thirsty, that had me laughing.
We also have Tough telling Julian that he's, I guess, been out since 17. He's 17. So I'm kind of glad that we're not going to get that storyline. Not that can't be a valid and good storyline, but I don't know, just seen that a lot in shows. So I'm kind of glad that we're getting a different story for Tough.
Yeah, his family seems supportive of him.
Yeah.
Julian turns out to be a good guy too.
Yeah, he seems
Yeah.
like it. We've only seen a couple little clips,
Yeah.
but he's like encouraging him in his music and so hopefully, yeah. Because you
The
don't
slow
need
burn.
every relationship to be trauma. You know,
No.
you can have just some fun little relationships. But there we go. I think we covered everything.
That's everything on my notes.
Okay, good. Well, what would you give this one, Terry? 1 to 10?
One second, I gotta get this one right.
Yeah.
I like this one a little less than episode 2, but I'm still gonna give it like around a 7. You know, it's fine.
What about you, Jenny? What would you give it?
Oh, I'm giving this one closer to 8 or a 9. I feel like we're really diving into the story now. I'm enjoying more of it. I always like a good dance scene. So yeah, I'm closer to a 9 on this one. I liked this one better.
I like this one better than episode 2. The dancing was really fun and the whole thing with the curse. So I would probably say an 8 on this one. Or an 8 point. Maybe this is my favorite of the 3 so far. But yeah, we'll see what happens coming up for episode 4 and 5, which we'll do a recap in 2 weeks. So let us know if you're listening what you think of these 2 episodes and what you would give them and how you feel about the show so far. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments or on Twitter. And Terry, where can people find you?
Basic, just Twitter, Flurry Heaven at Twitter.
Great. And Jenny?
You can find me on Facebook at Jenny Martz Books, or you can find me on Twitter at Jenny Martz.
Great. I'm gonna have that all in the description, so check that out. And thanks so much to both of you. And make sure that you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod, Hallmarkies Podcast. You can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. Check that out. Also, make sure that if you're listening on iTunes, you leave your ratings and reviews. That really helps us a lot. And if you are listening on YouTube, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And we also have our Patreon group and merch store. And we're having this Saturday, we are having Rhiannon Fish on for our watch along. We're watching the Christmas retreat with her. And so any level patron can participate in the watch along. So definitely take a look at that. The Patreon helps us so much. And like, so we have the merch store. Check that out. And thanks so much. We'll talk to you all later. Bye.